We'll start a bit early. I think. Oh, look at my. Why am I that like that? Right, let's sort that out. Hang on. I'm starting a bit early because of that. That's what I was going to say. I'm starting a bit early because if I look really bright, because I've got no lighting, because I'm away from home. Welcome to Real Magic Review. So why am I, when I sit down here, why do I, what's going on there? Oh, let's try here. Hang on. That's better. Let's do that. Now, I'm going to have to move my laptop. But I hope this is working because the Wi-Fi, I'm kind of in the sticks, right in the middle of the countryside, with a big dog, look. I'm looking after a house. So it's all a bit experimental. So I'm going to do some comments and talk about my lecture. I did a lecture for the Leeds Magic Jam. So it's just a check-in, really. I'm aware that I've put some reviews out last week, and it's going to be a little bit quieter for a bit. Finally caught you live. Yay, I hope it's worth it, Brett. It's going to be a bit shambolic, I think. But that's all right. I've got some dying sunflowers in the background there. But better than nothing, isn't it? I hope I won't be able to look after them. Like I said, I am looking after someone's house. So, are we still early? Yeah, I'm going to just ramble for a bit. But hello, everybody. Do ask me some questions. I'm going to try and find, because I haven't done one on my... Oh, you have to tap it for the comments to come up. Okay. Oh, look, and I can change the little... Oh, I can give it some style. But daren't to mess with that, actually. How do I get rid of it? Oh, gosh. Right. So, welcome to Real Magic Review. Sorry, I will be putting some reviews out, but I've got my show to work on. Got my show in like 3 weeks, he says, to work on. You think I'd have it nailed. But it's a bit of a worry because I've had a few kind of very minor crises in the last couple of weeks. 2 isolations, daughter getting COVID, she's fine, and then a couple of days my cat got its tail chopped off, man. So I had to get that amputated just at the same. So it all went wrong, and it's fine, it's all good, but life just went a little bit hectic. And then of course, with the kids, I forget that they're with me and they're not at school and stuff. So getting stuff done. But do be patient with me, and you know, the worry is always when you've got a channel like this, when you do have to quieten down a bit, that you're going to kind of lose your audience. So stick with me. From September, it's all going to. There's some really interesting stuff happening, exciting stuff that's nearly 100% going to happen, which means hopefully there'll be more videos, and stuff is going to happen. But I'm really why is it when I move somewhere my face just goes completely? There you go. It's weird, isn't it? So I'll tell you about this. Like and subscribe. Check out cardmagiccourse.com. Tell me if you can hear me and everything's clear. It is only on my phone. Hi Mika. Hi Alan. How you doing? Brett, good to have you here. And Gary, nice one. So I did a lecture the other day. I thought I'd talk about that briefly. A little bit like, you know, when I did my first gig. I haven't lectured loads. I did a few lectures years ago when I released my DVD materials. And it was interesting because I really was Hei Hokagekira. Sorry, I forgot that wrong. Excuse me. So I'm not a kind of expert lecturer in any way. And actually, a few of the lectures that I did online over lockdown were really enjoyable. One of them I just completely forgot my cups and balls routine at the end, but that was fine. Apologies for that if you were there. But I did a half an hour lecture, which was really nice actually to do half an hour, get in for the Leeds Magic Jam, and really enjoyed it, but surprisingly nervous. I've always really struggled with performing for magicians. I'm way better at it now. But still, I think if I did a competition, I'd kind of fall apart a little bit, as I have done in all my competitions. Now I've kind of got away with it, but I've got to learn. It's something I've got to learn. And lectures now, I think I do relax after a few minutes, but this one, because it was the first one in a while, it was surprising how nervous I felt throughout the whole thing. I did relax into it and I really enjoyed it, and the people were so lovely, but it was like halfway through I was thinking, I'm still not really in that zone that you kind of get in when you're well, you get into flow, don't you? When you're performing, you get the little bit before you go on, and then when you're into it, it's like time doesn't exist and everything's joyous, and you get that confidence. And that I'm finding really hard. I've done a few tricks recently. I'm making myself perform some tricks to people I know when I see them, just to get me into rhythm, the rhythm of doing that again. And performing to people I know, I find the hardest out of everything. And a lot of people on the card course and also on the channel contact me and said, why am I struggling with performing to family members and friends, and why do I find it so nerve-wracking? I'm really worried about going and performing to people I don't know. And I would say that actually it's the other way around for me. It's people I don't know. If you think about it, even if everything went wrong, which never really happens, a lot of the time you're not going to see them again. And even if it's a paid gig, and I have done paid gigs where everything's gone wrong and that client hasn't booked me again at all, and that's fine. At the time it's really gutting, but then looking back, it's because they didn't book me, something else might have happened. An interesting story. Well, I say interesting for me. I've been leaning against something. I did my first cruise ship, and I did 3 or 4 cruise ships a long time ago, before my daughter was born. She's nearly 17, so it's that long ago. And I was a street performer, and I hadn't done the stage, and I went on stage really nervous, but I knew I could hold myself with an audience. And I went on the Queen Mary 2 in New York, did the gig. I was kind of happy with it. I was really nervous. I overran it. I knew they weren't happy about that because I wasn't comfortable on stage. At the time was all over the place. And I was so excited. It's the first time I'd ever done any performing that wasn't the street, and I'd done corporates, but something that could be a career. I knew that if it went well, there would be a career going all over the world, and that was so exciting to me, as because pretty much all I did was street shows. And I went up to the cruise director at the end, and I was meant to be on that ship, getting on in New York, and then coming off it, and then getting back on it about 10 days later. So flying me back out, and I had a straight jacket, 40 feet of chain, all the juggling stuff, and I talked to the people in the storage that, and they said, leave your stuff here if you're coming on in 10 days, and you don't have to drag it back. And so it was fine. And then the cruise director came up to me at the end and goes, all right, where's your stuff? You're leaving now? And I said, oh, it's in the storage. And he said to me, I think you should take it with you. And what he was saying is, you're not coming back on the ship. And I got back, and the agent said, no, they don't like the show, you're not going back on that ship, and they don't want you back on the ship, and I don't want to give you any work. And I was absolutely devastated at the time. I was embarrassed, I was humiliated, I was devastated. I thought, I've got no career now. I thought that was my only chance. I thought maybe I'm a terrible performer, and all this. And looking back on it, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me, because cruise ships weren't for me. I actually ended up doing 2 more. They gave me another chance, and the shows went very well, but I really struggled with it. I felt quite depressed on the ship, and just wasn't for me. Maybe it would be now, but because I had a kid on the way and stuff. And because of that, it opened up other things, because I went, right, I've got to work on other stuff now. I can't work on a cruise ship show. I'd kind of put all my eggs in that basket, because I was convinced it was going to go okay, and I'd get the work. And it, when you do work for people you don't know and it goes wrong, it is at the time horrible. And if you get tricks wrong in front of family and friends, it feels humiliating. The first time I did stand-up in front of friends, I completely died, like absolute death. It was horrific. But again, looking back on that, it didn't matter. It's so monumental to us when it happens. And I would say that if you're just thinking about the lecture and stuff, about halfway through, I was thinking, I'm nervous here. And then I just kind of went, you know what? It's whatever happens is fine. Of course you want to do a good job. You've got to have your high standards. You've got to do your rehearsal. You've got to know what you're going to do your preparation, all that. But once you've done all that, that's kind of all you can do. And then you work on feedback, and if it doesn't go that well, you make it better. Luckily, I think it did go okay. And I got some lovely people saying lovely things to me afterwards, which was great. But of course, you always strive for better. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So first, it's a lovely lecture though. Let me just get the... Tom, how you doing? Matthew, I always get that pronounced wrong. How you doing? 7 people watching, it should be 7 likes. Yeah, I never get many, thanks, do hit the like button by the way. I never get many people when I do these off the cuff ones and Thursdays at the moment, because they're all over the place and sometimes they don't happen, so it's fine. But it's lovely that people do come and join me now and have a chat. And of course, the people that watch it afterwards is really nice. So, so I'm going to share some comments. Now, I can't do comments on everything because there's been a few since I did one of the comments on comment sections, but the ones that I think are going to be interesting for other people, First of all, Axel Heckler Mind Visit. This is an interesting one because I think I'm going to do it in my show, just because I find it really challenging actually to do. It's not difficult when you read it, but it's kind of nerve-wracking to do it. But I've done it a couple of times now. I've actually performed it a couple of times. It's a tossed-out deck, but where you actually tell each individual person what card they have, but it takes some kind of some slight memory work. So sorry. Door went up there, didn't I? Someone said, is it hard for beginners? It's tricky to perform. Alan Lawler. It's just difficult, isn't it, when you do anything that requires a thought process that you have to learn, but no sleight of hand. I do kind of think it is kind of okay for beginners, if you see what I mean, because you're starting. I mean, I'm kind of starting that from nothing. The things you have to do in that, other than the shuffling the deck in your hands, which is helpful to be able to do. But you can do a normal shuffle. With Mind Visit, I think it's a mental process that you've got to practice. So you could come in that completely cold and practice that and do it because there's no sleight of hand. So anything that's self-working still requires rehearsal, but doesn't require you to, have some sleight of hand that you've worked on for years. So I think any of that stuff, I think Mind Visit, you could do it as a beginner, I think. Say So One, I didn't know Say So One was Brett Barry, and he said, you've only placed as one of he said some lovely things. I'm not going to be egotistical there, but thank you, Brett. David M, I looked at this when I was buying Just a Cup on Axel's website. Looks interesting. I rarely perform for groups of people, but still might get this. I've been doing 52-1 deck for a while and love that. Not a tossed out deck, but also a mind reading card effects. Yeah, David Penn was lecturing after me at the Leeds Magic Jam, and I haven't got the 52-1 deck, and he lectured it, and I thought it looked really interesting, actually, and it's one of the things that a lot of people have said to me that they do, and it is great, isn't it? I mean, the routine is brilliant. Someone looks at any card, and you cut to it, and there are obviously various stages. So I'm looking at my laptop here because you're on my phone. I reviewed Away with Words, the Luke Jonas book. I'd just like to say, because the book's fine, but I had some issues with it, and it was so nice for Luke to say he'd love the Perfectly Honest review. And Luke came up to me and said, thanks for your review, and gave me the Alice in Wonderland book test and a couple of things at the Leeds Magic Jam. And I thought it was a really lovely thing, because I don't like saying anything negative about people's stuff, because it takes a lot of effort to put out. But some stuff doesn't take a lot of effort, and you can tell that. But when there's just something about it you feel like you've got to share that you didn't really like about it, and then they come up and thank you, it was lovely. And Sean said, Luke's such a nice guy, and I absolutely think, because it's easy when, and I've had it before, and God, you can criticise the hell out of my stuff, it's so flawed, but I've had it before when that started happening, when someone said something online where I go immediate into that feeling of defence, really, and blame and excusing stuff, and I think just to say, yeah, fair enough, thanks very much, is a really nice thing. So I was banging going up there, and there was a big greyhound holding his bed. So thanks for that. Right, just seeing, I did review the juggling clubs, and like I say, if you're not a juggler, have a look at the juggling stuff review, because I just think it's such a lovely thing to do alongside Magic. People have said, Gary, who's watching now, said you're going to review Diablos. I'm rubbish at Diablo, I'd love to, but the thing about Diablos is that when you drop them, they fly and they keep rolling away, and it's quite a hard thing to review. Tom says a really nice thing. Great thing about getting old, thanks Tom, is that you can return to stuff you love to do, a return to joy. Can you review the premium clubs? Interestingly, that's a really interesting thing that's happening now, is that I'm going back to the things I used to love, and for a while I became almost embarrassed about. When I was a juggler, I was a magician for a little tiny bit of time, and then I got really into juggling more. And Magic for me then was like, oh yeah, you don't look at Magic, it's all about juggling. And then when I got into Magic, I don't look at bangs everywhere. Don't look at juggling, it's all about Magic. And actually now I'm sort of mixing it all and doing it just for the joy of it, and not for the kind of, I've got to learn a thing for a gig. Life is becoming nicer, to get rid of all that judgment we have. And I think, it happens within Magic as well. I'm just going to shut this door. Is that you have judgments, card, sleight of hand people have sometimes little prejudices about mentalism. Mentalists have little prejudices about, this and that. And I think when you realise, and sometimes it takes a while to realise that that's just all absolute nonsense, and you can actually draw from each thing and respect everybody for what they do, and not ever criticise someone for what they love to do, even if you might not see it, and like, you know, stuff that I call trinket magic, you know, this magic with these little kind of like bizarre magic where you got little sort of gems and stuff. You know, I never really liked that, but now I can see, even though it's not for me, I can see the joy in it that other people get, and to judge it is completely ridiculous. So, yeah, sorry. Oh, my phone's moving downwards. Hang on. And I did make a mistake with that club thing, saying they were one-piece clubs and they were two-piece clubs. Right, Blink 2 by Luch. Did I talk? I'm sure I've talked about this on a live show so far. Maybe I haven't. Let me just read. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves, as if you're all in the same room or something. Do a comment. That'd be nice. Yeah, Julian is funny. He's getting right into wallets. Luch is a wonderful teacher who I've only ever seen release outstanding products. I agree, actually. Luch's stuff is all good. You might, even if it isn't for everybody, the routine-wise, it's just all quality stuff. He's someone that works it. And, you know, a lot of people saying, oh, I've got loads of wallets. Do I need another wallet? You know, if you've got a good peak wallet you use, keep that. If you like the look of Blink 2 and you like that thing of a long peak of being able to kind of relax and look at something and look at it again and again and then be able to put the wallet down, then go for Blink. But it's, like he said, it's not one or the other. It's, you know, I don't think anybody needs loads of wallets, but it doesn't mean you can't get joy out of having them. You know, I've got loads of books, I don't need them. But it's, yeah, it's been tempted, lots of people tempted. Oh, interesting, Rob, someone might be able to answer this. I'm in Canada and the size of business cards is different than European cards. Will North American cards fit? I think the standard business card is small for the Blink wallet. So I think I've got some blank business cards that are bigger than normal business cards, and they fit. So I think you're going to be okay, but don't quote me on it. Maybe I think it'd be worth asking Luch, maybe emailing Luch on the website as well. Yeah, Mexi saying about why can't I get obsessed with thumb tips and not wallets, because they're loads of money. Absolutely. Adini76, to me, just too expensive for paper, essentially. My best advice is to get a durable peak wallet, self-assessment wallet. Yeah, it's just get what you like the look of, isn't it? And like I said, if you've got one of them and it does the job for you, that's great. Let me just see if there's anything else. Yeah, it's interesting. Bill Fish, the term does one thing really well should now be redundant. I have two wallets that do lots of things really well. Seems a cop out on design. Also, for $100, I would like to have seen some close-up pictures of the wallet. There is some close-up pictures of the wallet, and there was in the review, and there is on the site. And you sort of see what you're going to get. And I think, oh, this is how much wallets are. You know, if Luch doesn't get a mass-produced, you know, like some people do. And I'm not sure he does, but I know that some people do, because people always, I've talked to people that said we get them all from whatever. He doesn't get hundreds and hundreds of wallets produced. And I've always found his stuff to be kind of good value, really. And again, you do see what you're going to get. It's a well-made wallet and you've got a choice to buy it. I do think it is, I like getting stuff that does one thing really well. And not all the time in the slightest, but sometimes when someone does lots of things, there is a concession there and it does lots of things not quite as well. But of course there are stuff that does lots of things really well. And it's just, again, it's preference. If you're only ever going to do a peak, there's not much point in getting something that does a peak and 3 other things. I suppose that's the point. And lots of bloody thing, people saying nice things there. Right, Divide and Conquer. This was an interesting one. King OK. I really love this trick. Dan Harlan's presentation at the end of the download is so good. I forgot to mention that, I think. And Dan Harlan does a presentation at the end. And actually, it is good, and Dan Harlan is good. And for me, I think sometimes when there's too much presentation around a trick, it can... maybe it's just because I've seen it too much, but I kind of lose it a little bit and just want it to get on with it. And Dan Harlan's presentation, even though it's brilliant, it's got all this kind of really nice presentational things in it. For me, I kind of felt like, just do the trick. And I think that's just personal preference, and it's interesting how some people really like that stuff. And theatrically, I think it is better to do more of a presentation around it. But I also like the thing, you know, look at the card, it's in my pocket. I think sometimes there's a time for that, and there's no right and wrong. And is it King OK? I made a Facebook group for this trick. Commitment, brilliant. Bought it and have great reactions. Yeah, I agree. Anthony says I've been interested in this, but I've been put off a little. As some reviews have said the fishing is basically not good. So if you're not aware, if fishing for someone who's asking questions to decide what card, you ask a few questions and that will give you the information you need to tell someone what their card is. I think what's happening, I didn't think at all when I saw this the fishing wasn't good. I thought it was easy and easier than some fishing, but you've got something like, say, Axel Hecklow's Mind Visit, which takes more practice, I think. And you could argue that is a better fishing method because it's, I would say, a slightly less easy to reverse engineer. But I still think in the moment, even with an easier fishing method, for the layperson, they don't reverse engineer. They can't remember that far back. Now, I think in certain situations you have got to be careful. Again, with Mind Visit, it's great when you've got small groups. They can talk to each other afterwards because you don't get that thing you do get with Tossed Out Deck where they can't really sometimes communicate with each other afterwards without giving a game away. But I think in a live situation where they're not watching it back again and again and trying to work it out and just in the moment, I think the fishing's totally fine. Times are hard, Steve, don't sell everything. No, I know, because I did that in my house and it looked like everything had gone. It kind of looks the same here, doesn't it? David M. I've had Divine and Conquer for a couple of months, still haven't unboxed it. No, and also have Mind Power Deck. But honestly, been doing 52 to 1. Yeah, so again, there's a lot of love for 52 to 1. If you like this kind of effect, please check out The Linking Ring, July 2021. Raison d'Artre, I think that's how you say it, by Hank Raison. No Gaff Deck, that's from Hank Raison. There you go. We'll have a look at that, Hank. Thank you very much. Lots of love for that. Somebody's Pincher Books. Can you review Bipolar by Ramkhan? I'd love to review Bipolar if I get one. I'm not getting much stuff at the moment because I think it's just summer. And I saw that Murphy's was sending me stuff, but it hasn't arrived yet. So things are taking a long time. But that's about it, I think. So let me have a look at if you've got any comments, let me know. Sorry I'm late, Scott. Don't worry about that. Scott, as long as you got a note. We've been very worried. We've called all the hospitals, etc. How about them clubs? Yes, I'm going to... if I get some posh clubs to review, I'll ask them. Math heavy tossed out deck. Yeah, no, it's not math actually. If it's math, or maths as they say, yeah, I just wouldn't be able to do it at all. But just being able to remember what's going on in front of you, which most people can do without much effort, but I can't. Do any clients complain you look like you have an unkempt beard? No, not at all, Daniel, because I haven't. I shave it under here and there. So when I go to a gig, it's no, not at all. And I see, that's a whole thing, isn't it? What do you wear for a gig? I used to, like when I did a black tie gig, I used to wear a black tie and look exactly like everybody else. I was so uncomfortable in black tie that I don't anymore. I wear a black suit and a black shirt, and I look smart, but some people say you've got to look impeccable. And it depends who you are and what your character is, which for a lot of us is just ourselves, but a little bit bigger or a little bit of a kind of extended version of ourselves. But I found myself in dicky bows and stuff. I find it so limiting. I end up with a bad back. It does something to me, so I just don't wear them. And I look smart. I do my hair, and I think if you groom yourself, you can have a beard or you can have a stubble or whatever. It's totally fine. I've never had a complaint. Never had anything but good review, good feedback, and I do ask for it for constructive criticism as well. But then some people, look really smart, have really smart hair and have a knackered old suit. And incidentally, I don't spend loads of money on suits. Some people say you should spend so much money on suits and have it tailored. Never really felt the need to, and I kind of look smart and I look the part. So it's, again, lots of rules and regulations around this stuff. And I think as long as you're self-aware and you ask people, do I look all right, that you trust, I think you're fine. And I think that's it. So thank you very much. Bit of a long one, but it's good to just hang out. I don't do these ones for numbers really. So, but if you do like the channel, please do hit the like button. And also, 19 people watching, 19 likes. That's nice, isn't it? And thanks if you're watching this afterwards, because most people do watch these afterwards. I do my very best to do one every Thursday. Life is really up and down at the moment. It's great, but it's hectic. And then after September, it's going to be fine. But keep your eye on the community. Press the little bell icon. Check out cardmagiccourse.com and get your free spread course, cardmagiccourse.com/Carl. Thanks for you guys at Leeds Magic Jam for being so lovely the other day. And I'm going to do the live Card Magic course session in half an hour. I'm glad all that worked. Take care, everyone. See you later.